Linear A, Minoan Mystery. Linear A shows up on tablets and pottery across Minoan sites. It appears to be a cousin of Linear B, which we can read, but Linear A isn't related to Greek, not even remotely. We've catalogued the symbols. We know what sounds they might make, but we have no idea what the words mean. There is no Rosetta Stone and no bilingual texts, just lines, circles, and symbols frozen in time. There is a dead script from a civilization that vanished with a volcanic bang and a cultural fade. Maybe one day we'll crack it. Until then, the Minoans are still whispering secrets no one can hear. Etruscan. Before Rome ruled Italy, the Etruscans were here. They built cities, had kings, and loved a good banquet. They also had their own language, completely unrelated to Latin. We've found thousands of inscriptions on tombs, mirrors, and pottery. We can read the letters as they were borrowed from the Greek alphabet, but the meanings are barely understood. We know words like daughter and god, and we can guess others from context. But the complex grammar and syntax are not understandable. They vanished into Roman culture, leaving behind a language that doesn't fit anywhere. There are no living relatives, no neat translations, just fragments. It's like having all the puzzle pieces, but no box cover. Etruscan is still a ghost in the archives of Italy. Indus Script. The Indus Valley was thriving 4,000 years ago, even before Egypt had pyramids. They had plumbing, cities, trade routes, and a script no one can read. There were tiny symbols etched on seals, tablets, and pottery. Also, short phrases just 5 to 10 characters long. No one knows what language it represents. There were no translations, no long text, and no hint of how it sounds. Is it a full writing system, or just fancy logos for merchants? Even that's up for debate. The civilization collapsed mysteriously, and their script died with them. The Indus people spoke. They wrote. But all we have now are silent symbols and unanswered questions. Elamite. Ancient Iran had its own kingdom, Elam, and Elam had its own language, Elamite, also known as Hetamite. The language is written in cuneiform, but don't get it twisted, it's not Sumerian or Akkadian. It's in its own league. We have royal inscriptions, temple texts, and administrative records, and while we've deciphered parts of it, the language structure is still a headache. The Elamite Empire faded out when the Persians rose to power. It had no descendants, no living relatives, and no second act. There are just dusty tables in museums and scholars arguing over grammar rules. It's like finding an old book written in an alphabet you recognize, but the words might as well be from another planet. Rongorongo. In the 19th century on Easter Island, wooden tablets carved with strange looping glyphs were found. That language is known as Rongorongo. This could be the written history of the Rapa Nui people, about their kings, their myths, their rise and fall. But colonization, fires, and time destroyed nearly everything. Only 25 tablets remain, and even those are incomplete. Some think it's writing. Others say it's proto-writing, maybe chants, maybe lineages, or maybe something we'll never know. There is no Rosetta Stone, and no confirmed direction of reading. It might go bottom-up or zigzag, or both. A civilization is isolated for centuries, with a script that now stares back in silence. Proto-Elamite. Proto-Elamite is even older than Elamite. It was used around 3000 BCE in what is now Iran. It is the earliest known writing system from that region. Similarities were found between the Proto-Elamite and the Cretan Linear A script. Think of it as cuneiform's wild cousin, squiggly, blocky, abstract. It was mostly found on clay tablets, used for accounting, trade, maybe rituals. The symbols don't match any known language family. There were no bilingual texts, no phonetic key. Researchers have been trying to crack it for over a century, but so far, they aren't successful. The tablets are like a locked diary from a lost civilization. Meroitic. After Egypt faded, the Nubians rose, and they had their own writing. The Meroitic script looks sleek, almost modern. It was used on tombs, temples, and royal decrees. We know the alphabet. We even know how to sound out the words. But we have no idea what the words mean. It's like knowing the notes of a song, but not the melody. There are just elegant letters carved into stone, keeping their secrets. The kingdom of Kush spoke, and we still can't listen. Phaistos Disc. A disc of fired clay was found on the island of Crete. A round clay disc, known as the Phaistos Disc, was covered in stamped symbols. It looks mass-produced, like a Bronze Age DVD. Spiraling glyphs, men's heads, birds, tools, circles, each stamped like it was printed, not handwritten. The writing was totally unique. We've never found another artifact like it. It's either a one-off masterpiece or a prank from 1700 BCE. We don't know what it says. We don't even know the language. This is a message frozen in clay with no one left to read it. Olmec Writing. Before the Maya, before the Aztecs, there were the Olmecs, and they left behind something mysterious. Stone glyphs carved into massive monuments. This writing system is the oldest known in Mesoamerica. Colossal heads, altars, and stone stelae all hint at an advanced society, but the writing is still undeciphered. Some say it influenced later Mesoamerican scripts. Others argue it's completely unique. We have symbols, but no Rosetta Stone to decode them. Was it a full language, or just a proto-writing? It's like the Olmecs left us a message, and then vanished. No one knows what they were trying to say. They built the foundation, but the meaning is still locked in stone. Hurrian. This was a language once spoken by kings, priests, and poets. Hurrian was everywhere, in treaties, myths, and hymns. One of its songs is actually the world's oldest known piece of music. We have cracked parts of it, but the grammar is still not understandable. This is pure chaos. It doesn't behave like other languages from the region. This is like Sumerian and Akkadian had a wild sibling, and that sibling didn't like to be understood. Hurrian was spoken across parts of modern-day Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. Then it disappeared. Only fragments survive, on clay tablets and crumbling ruins. Linguists are still scratching their heads as there is so much material, but so little clarity. It whispers from the past, but refuses to speak clearly. Tangut. The Western Jia dynasty needed its own script, so they invented one from scratch. The Tangut script had over 6,000 characters, more than Chinese. And they weren't easy. Each one is a complex maze of strokes and structure. It was used for everything: laws, religion, literature. Then the Mongols came, and the entire dynasty was erased. For centuries, the Tangut language was a ghost. No one could read it. In the 20th century, scholars rediscovered it. Piece by piece, they began decoding these symbols. Today, some parts are understood, but much of it is still unreadable. It's like trying to learn Chinese if Chinese were invented by puzzle designers. This is an entire world of knowledge, hidden behind thousands of characters. Seems like a lost empire's encrypted diary. Tocharian Languages. This ancient language showed up on murals, manuscripts, and ruins in the desert sands of western China. But here's the twist. It's Indo-European. Yeah, like Latin, Greek, or Sanskrit, but in China. It shouldn't be there, and yet it is. Tocharian A and B, two dialects, were spoken about 1,400 years ago. The language was used by Buddhist monks and Silk Road merchants. Preserved in dry caves and ancient monasteries, the language looks like it took a wrong turn on its way to Europe. It's closely related to Celtic and German languages, yet written in the Brahmi script from India, a fascinating blend of East and West. Eventually, it disappeared, erased by cultural changes and invasions. Now it feels like a forgotten passport stamp in the story of human migration, a lost voice from a crossroads where civilizations once met. Mesmes. Mesmes was once spoken in the lush highlands of southwestern Ethiopia. This was a Semitic language, like Arabic or Hebrew, but hiding in East Africa. It wasn't ancient either. The last fluent speaker, Abagaz, died just a few decades ago. The language had strange sounds, nasal and glottal, dancing together in ways that puzzled linguists. Some called it a phonological oddity, and even though the Mesmes people still exist, they don't speak Mesmes anymore. They've shifted to Hadia, the dominant regional tongue. Cultural pressure, intermarriage, and education quietly erased it. So what's left? Notes, audio recordings, and fragments. A dead language that lived right into the 21st century and slipped away while the world wasn't watching. Another voice in humanity's long conversation, now silent.